We are making a tier list ranking every Part 5 stand based on how useful it will be to have in real life. Let's just jump right into it with the Big G Gold Experience. Instant S tier. What are we talking about here? Well, you can't start the video with an S tier already? Why are we lying? Who are we lying to? The ability to give life might just be the most infinite possibility thing ever. Like, how are you gonna turn a suitcase into a frog and then back into a suitcase? What do I mean? What do you mean by that? This is the Minecraft equivalent of a stand. You are only limited by your imagination. Anything goes, anything's possible. Not to mention the fact that it kind of works like a healer too, so you can kind of, recreate organs and stuff. Arguably an even better healer than Crazy Diamond, because you can actually heal yourself, unlike Crazy Diamond. And I'm also not going to let you forget that Gold Experience punches could have this additional effect, where it kind of like messes with your senses and it overloads you. Remember that one time in the first fight in the series where Bucciarati started lagging in real time? Yeah, we never saw that again. I remember though. Goated S tier, no questions asked. But we all know that's not where it ends, because Gold Experience also goes Requiem. Speaking of which, let me show you my Requiem stand. These are the RayNeo Air 4 Pro. The world's first HDR 10 AR sunglasses. I'm talking 120Hz refresh rate, 3D spatial sound, and a 201-inch screen in the slickest design on the market. So let me show you what I'm using them for. Now, I'm not a LARPer, I know my JoJo stands, but just in case, I got the JoJo wiki pulled up to make sure I don't forget any abilities, and I have that window pulled up right here in the glasses. How cool is that? You can browse the web, watch YouTube, and play games on these bad boys, so you know when the new JoJo game finally drops, seeing it in augmented reality is gonna be crazy. So click on the link in the description and get yours today. GER is a very interesting case. Canceling out actions, returning stuff back to zero. I don't think it's as useful as the regular Gold Experience. Is it more busted? Sure. Is it as useful as life-giving and healing? I don't think so. Also, if you do think this is the most useful stand of all time, I kind of don't want to be in your position, because how many enemies do you have that you feel the need to put them all in death loops? I promise you, bro, you're good. You do not have that many ops. So with that being said, I'm going to give it a certified, boom, A tier. Not bad, not as good as the OG. Sticky fingers! Very good. You could be a total menace with this one, alright? Imagine you do some crazy, unspeakable crimes and you get put into prison. Solitary confinement, right? Zzz, zzz, zzz. 3 zippers, 3 doors. I'll be walking out of that prison in 20 seconds sharp. Also, an even better part of the ability, alright? This is not just like a door for, knock, knock, you're not letting me in, zzz, I'm coming in anyway. No, you can totally go into like a separate pocket dimension, which kind of looks like the Shadow Realm. And you can totally chill in there for as long as you want. If somebody's chasing you, dude, I'm in the zipper dimension. Good luck finding me. It's over. You can win every single game of hide and seek ever. And just for that, slam! A tier. Moody Blues. In any other ranking, this would be a bottom tier stand. However, the ability to replay events and actions, this is the ultimate lie detector test. Scooby-Doo, Batman, Sherlock Holmes, all of you are fired. Time to look for a new job. You can't lie to me. I can literally see what you're doing. What's that, bro? You went to the gym 5 hours ago? Moody Blues. Oh my god, put down that Pringles can. In certain situations when you want to find out more information, this could quite possibly be the most useful stand of all time. I don't want to fill up the S tier too much, but this is low-key in between A and S. I'm going to give it A+++. So far, the highest of all A tiers. Next up, we got Pistos, the most American 4th of July stand of all time. How certain are we the user wasn't Funny Valentine? Are we sure it's Mista? Hold on, I gotta double check. This is real life Counter-Strike if you're hacking with aimbot and there's no VACBAT. The only thing preventing this from being S tier is the fact that the stand is actually the bullets. So without the revolver, you can't do anything with it. And there are plenty of places, plenty of countries where you can't just have a gun around, So if you're a law-abiding citizen, that is an A tier at best. Aerosmith, that is just a drone. That's what that is. That's a drone. You heard it here first. Araki predicted drones back in the 90s when he was writing this. Now, how useful are drones in your daily life? Unless you're filming prank videos for YouTube where you're just bothering people from above, not that useful. But this one can shoot. And you may be saying, Who cares? We're not at war. Totally understandable. However, if you get jumped, that could be a total lifesaver. You just summon the little guy, nuke the whole generation, and you're golden. So for its life-saving abilities in a pinch, I'm going to give it an A tier. You may not have a use for it daily, but when the time comes, you'll be glad you have it. Are you ready for the biggest Fugo hater to unbiasedly rank Purple Haze? F tier! What do you think this is, boy? Here at No School Saturday HQ, we are distributing Fugo slander daily. Listen, you are not going to catch me saying a single positive thing about Fugo, especially with this bum-ass stand. If you're a Fugo fan, if you want Purple Haze to be your stand in real life, this is you. I'm not even kidding. This is you, right here. Except instead of the stench, it is poison, it is virus, it is like 100 times worse. Why does everyone avoid me? Maybe because you're a Fugo fan, alright? Maybe try looking into some better characters instead of choosing a bum for your goat. With Spice Girl, you can make hard things soft. It's not that useful. Maybe you can gain some notoriety by lifting heavy weight, which you've made weight as much as rubber. Like, you know that world record where, who was it, the Mountain from Game of Thrones? He was lifting like, what, 500 kilos? 501 kilos? If you just boing all these weights and, you know, make them weight like 20 kgs, you could press that thing. You could be the new world record holder. But apart from that, it's looking a little like C tier, and I'm being very generous. Mr. President is a hidden room inside a key. The good part, you can invite all your friends, you can go in there, chill out, redecorate, make it into your own like hangout spot. The bad part, however, is if somebody gets their hands on this key and throws it in the ocean, hypothetically, what happens? You're cooked. You're the next Dio. You're spending the rest of your life at the bottom of that ocean, except you're not a vampire, so you age appropriately. And there's no, like, you know, I mean, you could stock up with like some food and snacks, but you're not going to survive multiple years in there in that room. So yeah, cool hangout spot, very useful in that sense. Do not let anybody touch that key. B tier. Chariot Requiem. Now you're probably wondering, wait a minute, where's Silver Chariot? And for that matter, where's Echoes? Listen, only stands that originate in Part 5 are considered for this list. So you're not going to see Silver Chariot, but you are going to see Chariot Requiem. And unfortunately, I hate to do my boy Polnareff dirty like that, but this stand is trash. The concept of soul swap and body swap, very interesting. Could potentially even be very useful IRL. What do you mean I don't get to choose? What do you mean it's all random? What do you mean I'm gonna fall asleep and I'm gonna wake up in a 95-year-old granny's body? Hello? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Trash tier. And by the way, this thing walks away. Hello? Excuse me? If you don't chase it, you're done. Nah, we ain't doing all that. King Crimson and Epitaph. Easy S tier, no debate. Nothing really needs to be said. You can see 10 seconds into the future, and if you don't like it, you can skip those 10 seconds. What are we talking about? Quite possibly the most busted and useful combination in all of Part 5. Imagine you see a future where you get hit by a car. Cool. Not gonna do that? That can save your life 1,000,000 times. Black Sabbath. You know how I mentioned the Shadow Realm before? This is literally the Shadow Realm stand. If you want to slime somebody out, send that thing after them. It's an automatic stand. You're just chilling. Imagine you're sitting at an Italian restaurant, right? You order pizza. Pizza comes over. Next thing you ask is, hey, can I have some ketchup? And with this act, you have immediately disrespected every Italian on the face of the planet. Next thing you know, you're walking around, some big monster comes out of the shadows, pulls your soul out, stabs you with an arrow, says you're not worthy, better luck next time. That's GG's. Is it a useful stand? Yes. Should you use it? No. Please stop. A tier. Soft machine can deflate people. Not gonna lie, compared to a lot of the other stands on this list, not that great. First of all, you gotta catch somebody off guard in order for the little dagger to go into them so all the air comes out. And second of all, what are you gonna use it for? Having like a whole collection of deflated people? You psycho? Nah. Boom! C tier. Craftwork controls kinetic energy, which is not bad, but the uses are kind of limited. So unless you're a genius and you can make full use of the stand, your average Joe, like you've seen in the series, is probably not going to do too much with it. Does it have potential? Absolutely. Is the best use of it to throw a bunch of rocks and start climbing on them like we saw in the series? Absolutely not. So if you want to bank on it as a potential man, sure, but right now it's looking like a C tier. Man in the Mirror is our next stand, which gets bonus points for being the only Part 5 stand wearing sunglasses. Almost as cool as the RayNeo Air 4 Pro. Link in the description. As for its actual abilities, why would I ever want to go into a lifeless mirror world? Any reflected surface becomes a portal to basically the backrooms. There's nothing there, it's completely lifeless. The only thing I was possibly thinking of is maybe using it for storage, since there's all that space there, but you can't even use it for storage because every item that is being moved in the real world is also being moved in the mirror world. So honestly, if you can't even use it for storage, F tier. Don't waste my time with this tier. Little feet can shrink people, which sounds very useful at first, but the more you kind of think, the more you realize it's a little more situational. And the reason for that is it takes a while for your enemy to shrink. So if you're going against somebody, you kind of have to like sneak around before, the effects start kicking in. And, once they're 2 feet tall, you can kind of pow, you know what I'm saying? But until they're small enough, you kind of have to wait a little bit. The good news is you can shrink yourself as the user like that instantly. Okay, so most useful example I can think of is, let's say you drop the remote behind the couch, poof, grab it, poof, back to normal size. You can keep watching No School Saturday shorts on your TV. You psycho. So overall, I'm going to give it a solid B-. Babyface being a technologically advanced stand is pretty useful. Almost as useful as the RayNeo Air 4 Pro. Now in terms of how that technological advancement is actually used, yeah, we're just not allowed to use this one. This one goes in the prison tier. This one goes in the banned tier. Beach Boy is an S tier stand if you're into fishing. If you're not into fishing, it's straight up F tier. It is terrible in 1v1 combat, but you can hook onto someone. So you know what? I would give it a D tier out of pity, out of respect for Pesci. That's the only reason why it's not an F. The Grateful Dead can make everyone around you age rapidly. This is the kind of thing that you never want to use. Except for one situation. Now, you didn't hear that from me, but hypothetically, you can totally check if your girlfriend has mommy potential. You know what I'm saying? Pop, Grateful Dead, age her a couple decades. Are we talking mommy or are we talking not? That's all I'm saying. And that's pretty much the only way I can think the Grateful Dead will ever be useful, and for that reason, C-. Metallica's pretty cool because you're kind of like a nerfed version of Magneto. You're not as powerful, the range is not that great, and you don't control every metal, but there's a lot of iron in us, around us, and everywhere you look, so not bad. Now you can use these powers in pretty versatile ways. You could potentially jam or break weaponry and technology because a lot of them use iron as metal in there, so you can totally wipe a lot of stuff out. If you want to slime somebody, very useful, but also the invisibility. Now to be fair, it is not perfect invisibility. It's more closer to invisibility mixed with camouflage, but regardless, if you can't be seen, you can't be seen, and that enables you to do a lot of things I can't mention on here. None of them are good, but useful. A tier. Next up, we got White Album, which Ghiaccio wears as a suit on top of him, which I always thought is going to make it harder for him to see, since he's already wearing glasses. Luckily, I don't have that problem, because the RayNeo Air 4 Pro has an eye care mode, which makes it easy on the eyes. Realistically though, we're talking ice powers, we're talking badass suit. This is a certified A tier. I would say it's more of an A- though, because of a potential skill issue, and what I mean by that is you gotta know how to skate. So if you're Canadian, for you, this stand is gonna be a triple S tier. If you're from anywhere else where skating on ice is not that common, A-. Next up, we got Clash, which is a shark that changes its size based on the amount of water that it's in, aka another fishing stand. What's up with all those? Now, we've seen the shark being small because it was in a soup. We've seen the shark being big because it was in a river. Imagine its size in the ocean. We're talking megalodon size, potentially, right? If you're deep sea fishing with the boys, you're going to catch some wild stuff, all right? You might go whale hunting. But in any other situation, if you're doing anything else but fishing and you're not around water, So for the average person, I'm going to give it a solid C-. Not quite a D because it does have some potential uses, but realistically, very, very limited in day-to-day life. Talking head is an easy A tier. What do you mean I can make you lie? What do you mean I can make you say anything? Anything. What are you thinking? I can make you say anything, all right? This is some diabolical stuff. This is some life-ruining stuff you can do with that stand. And the thing is, nobody's gonna know it was you. The perfect crime. Notorious B-I-G-Z tier. Worst stand in the series. Yes, worse than Cheap Trick. What do you mean I need to get slimed in order for this stand to activate? I don't care what it does. I don't know what it does. It doesn't matter what it does. It could do anything. I'm not there to appreciate it. So I don't care. Everything I've said about Purple Haze also applies to Green Day. I'm talking F tier, Z tier, Shadow Realm tier, FBI watch list tier. Name me one guy in history who has ever said, you know which superpower I want? I want to turn everybody around me into mold. Just straight up rotting. Wrap it up. Next up we got Oasis, which allows you to swim into the ground as if you're diving in it. Kind of a similar usage to something like Sticky Fingers, but not as great in versatility because it only applies to the floor. It does allow you to move pretty fast underground, but it can't create a separate pocket dimension like Sticky Fingers. So with that being considered, I'm going to give it a B++. Not quite an A, but probably top tier in the Bs. Last and quite possibly also least, Rolling Stones, straight up F tier. Why would I want a stand which follows someone else around and shows them their demise? Unless I'm running some kind of scam fortune-telling business and I tell them, hey, listen buddy, you're gonna get followed by a big ball of cement. Out of the question. No. This is the final ranking. Let me know down below if you agree, if you disagree, if you figured out some useful ways for stuff that I've called trash and garbaggio. And finally, one last thank you to RayNeo for sponsoring this video. Get the Air 4 Pro augmented reality sunglasses by clicking the link in the description. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one, which might be the Q&A. I haven't forgotten.